So, the Bills are just a bad team right now. There's no other way around it. They're just bad. No excuses, no nothing. Just bad football. You know who isn't bad, though? Miami. I give you guys your flowers. You didn't win last night, but you can hang in there with good teams. The refs were absolutely against you. And on top of everything else, you're not going to lose to the Patriots. So, sorry about yesterday's game, Miami. Sorry about my previous comments towards you guys, but I no longer question why you're the #1 team in the division anymore. You guys earned it. You play like it. And I just got to hope that we can catch up to you if we can ever get it together. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and welcome to my Week 7 NFL reactions. We had another crazy week, which means we have a ton to talk about, so before we hop right into it, we got a couple of quick plugs. Don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks. You can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. And basketball fans, if you guys are gonna play, please sign up by Wednesday so you can take advantage of that Steph Curry free square. It's not gonna get easier than that. But always play responsibly, and let's get into my reactions for Week 7. All right, everybody, so our first game of the week was Jacksonville at the Saints. Look, I got one major takeaway from this game, and that is Derek Carr is terrible, and I was really wrong for expecting a lot out of him this year. Dude, this guy just doesn't see open targets, and when he does, he overthrows them by 1.5 miles and then yells at them for not catching it. Like, how are you gonna yell at Olave for not finishing his route when the ball is 10 feet out of bounds, you stupid fuck? Or how about that play when he overthrew Rashid Shaheed and he almost made that great one-handed catch? That guy was open 3 different times. Carr just doesn't look at him. Like, the only form of consistency I've seen from Carr this year is when he's checking down to Alvin Kamara for 10 passes a game. Otherwise, he can't do anything. For the longest time this year, I was saying your coaching was the problem in New Orleans, and maybe it still is, but your quarterback is part of that issue. As far as Jacksonville goes, like, they won the game, they played well, but they really just didn't do as good as you would have thought. Like, Trevor, he only threw for 204, 1 touchdown, still really not doing what I thought he was gonna do all year. ETN scored 2 touchdowns, but production-wise, he was not very good at all. 14 carries for 53, like, that's bad. And then as far as receiving goes, Christian Kirk remains to be wide receiver 1, and Calvin Ridley is doing nothing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, both of these teams seem to be missing a lot of clarity right now. But Jacksonville is able to consistently win, and they have a quarterback who can hit open targets. So, I mean, you might have not looked pretty, but you got it done. All right, next game we got was the Falcons at the Bucs, and the Falcons won by 3, but they should have won by 30 if Desmond Ridder didn't fumble the ball 3 times in the red zone. Checking out Tampa Bay first, Baker went 27 for 42, 275, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Looking at the rushing, Rachaad White continues to be terrible, and then receiving, they were consistent, but they didn't throw enough. Checking out the Falcons now, we got Ridder 19 for 25, good completion percentage, right? Well, not really. Go watch the replay. A number of those catches were made because Kyle Pitts and Drake London are freaks of nature. As far as rushing goes, it was terrible, and Bijan was sick, so he didn't get to play. As far as receiving goes, it was led by Drake London, who had 6 receptions for 54 yards, and then the running back Algier at 3 for 53. Say right now, the 2 reasons Atlanta won this game, because their defense was disruptive with Baker, and Younghoe Koo had ice in his veins, kicking 10 points for the team. I really want Atlanta to start Taylor Heineke, like, now. Moving on, we got the Raiders at the Bears, and I did not watch a play of this game because I could not have cared less about Brian Hoyer versus Tyson Bagent. Looking at the losing team here first, which was the Raiders, Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell both got some action, and Aiden actually threw a touchdown when Brian didn't. Looking at the rushing, Josh Jacobs is still absolutely atrocious. However, Devontae Adams did find his way back up to the top of the receiving board, probably because he bitched about it last week, rightfully so. Did anybody get a sack for the Raiders? Oh yeah, Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson. So I guess they had that going for them, other than the fact that they got blown out by 18 points. Looking at the Bears now, Tyson went 21 for 29, 162, 1 touchdown. I don't know if he was good or not. I did not watch. Dante Foreman had 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now next week, he'll have 16 carries for 16 yards and nothing. And now looking at the receiving, DJ Moore led the team with 8 for 54, but Dante Foreman was the only one to catch a touchdown, bringing him to 3 total for the day. Wow. Oh, and on top of that, they had 3 interceptions where Tremaine Edmonds got 1 and Jalen Johnson got 2. I mean, goddamn, Vegas, it kind of looks like you guys just got your faces kicked in. All right, next game we got is the Browns at the Colts, and this was just an oddly bizarre game. I'm convinced Kevin Stefanski just tried to score as many points as he could without actually throwing a touchdown. I mean, look at this on Cleveland. 39 points, not one passing touchdown. All the points came from 3 different people: Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, or Dustin Hopkins. Like, talk about finding a way to win, man. Receiving was involved, as you could see, but they just didn't score a single point. Also, I'd just like to point out that Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward both came up in spots where they were needed the most. Denzel having a pick and Myles Garrett recording 2 sacks. This is what a number 1 and a number 4 overall pick should fucking look like. Might have not been pretty, Cleveland, but you got it done. Now, looking at the Colts side of things, Gardner had a pretty decent game. It looks like, at least 15 for 23, 305, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor is kind of back, having 18 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. And if you were crazy enough to start Gardner against the Browns, he would have ran you in 2 more touchdowns, probably scoring you around 25 to 30 points. Like, I get it if this loss stings, Indy, but you guys actually played really well, and you should be very excited about Josh Downs, dude. Both him and Jalen Hyatt, I know he's on a different team, but these guys weren't expected to do a lot out of this class, and they're doing arguably more than everybody who was drafted in the first round. Like, it's fucking wild. Good game, Indy, honestly. All right, now moving on, we got the Commanders at the Giants. And right away, I will address the huge elephant in the room with the Giants. No, Tyrod Taylor is not the QB1. As bad as some people are going to want it, that's never, ever going to happen because they did not pay Danny $40 million to bench him. That being said, the Giants played a pretty good game of football here. Tyrod Taylor kind of balled out. Saquon Barkley had a couple productive runs. As bad as his, stats may look, I don't think it was really that rough. Darren Waller had 7 for 98 and a touchdown. Here comes Saquon again, 3 for 41 and a touchdown. Like I said, he was more productive than his stats showed. And as far as their defense goes, it looks like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sacks and an interception. Looking at the Commanders now, Sam Howell kind of had another lousy day, and as you just saw, took 6 more sacks, I think putting him at 40 now on the year already. Run game continues to be lousy. Receiving, I mean, if Howell doesn't do good, they don't really have that many opportunities. However, I do want to say Jahan Dotson finally kind of made a name for himself, which was good to hear. And then looking at their defense, they got 4 sacks, which, is always good to have, but I would like to highlight the fact that Chase Young was 2 of them. Could be on the trade block if they don't turn it around. Shocking outcome for me by the Giants, but yeah, good game for you guys. You played well. Next up, we got the Lions at the Ravens. Holy shit, that's really good. Chucky G Fuel tastes like orange pop. Anyway, yikes to this game. Detroit, I don't know what else to say other than shit happens. I mean, they were able to have a pretty decent game statistically for certain players, but they just were not able to generate points for shit. I mean, look at this. Amon-Ra, 13 receptions, 102. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 for 58. Also ran 11 for 68 and a touchdown. Players were kind of able to have, performances of their own, but this team as a unit, they just got smacked. But that's what happens when Lamar Jackson is on and the Ravens defense is mean. Baltimore plain and simple kicked their ass. Lamar 21 for 27, 357, 3 touchdowns. Nearly a perfect game. Gus Edwards had a rushing touchdown. Lamar Jackson had another rushing touchdown. Fun but bizarre fact, Gus Edwards is 4th all-time for Ravens rusher. Isn't that crazy? And then if we look at receivings, Gus Edwards also had 1 reception for 80 yards. Zay had 4 for 75. Mark Andrews had 4 for 63, 2 touchdowns. Odell had 5 for 49. Nelson Aguilar made his monthly appearance. And then the defense, who sacked Goff 5 times and picked him off once. Ugh. One of these teams was ready to play. One of them wasn't. In Detroit, unfortunately, it was you. Now we got the Bills losing to the Patriots. Look, the Bills Mafia might agree with me, they might disagree with me on this one, but I've got some laundry I need to air out. I love Von Miller a ton, and I respect the career he's had, and I'm happy he's here, but he is starting to really piss me off. And it's nothing to do with the fact that he's hurt and recovering and can't play at his fullest extent. No, that's not it. What's starting to bug me is that every single time, which this is the 3rd week in a row we've gone out there and looked like ass, he just goes up to the media and says, "Oh, it's good to get punched in the mouth. We're still good though." Brother, have some fucking urgency! It infuriates me to lose games for one, but it really pisses me off to lose 3 in a row, realistically 3 in a row, and have one of your leaders say the same goddamn thing every week! I know, I'm being irrational right now. I'm just very angry, but I strongly believe this is not the position to be playing the everything is okay game, because everything is not okay. We are defensively fucked with injuries. Our offense cannot score against the worst teams in the league, and we are in a division that not only are we not in first right now, but we're losing the games that could potentially push us into first later on. There. I said it. Feel a little bit better? We're good. Hats off to the Patriots, though. Good, clean game by Mac Jones. Kendrick Bourne continuing to have a late bloom in his career. And congrats to Jabril Peppers on picking off the ball that Josh Allen threw right to him on the first play of the game. Honestly, I'm happy for the Patriots, and I'm happy Bill got his 300th win against the Bills because it's just fitting. Moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Seahawks, and I'm going to be real, I didn't really watch any of the afternoon games because I was depressed. So, looking at the Cardinals first here, Josh Dobbs at 146 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but he did have a rushing touchdown, which was responsible for over half of the points the Cardinals got. Receiving was pretty lousy. Defense appeared to be quiet as well, but Garrett Williams had a pick, and Zaven Collins got a sack, which is nice to see because I think he's pretty underrated. Checking out Seattle now, Geno bounced back reasonably well, 18 for 24, 219, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Kenneth Walker had 26 carries for 105, and their receivers were all over the place in the absence of DK Metcalf, but it should be noted that Jackson Smith was the #1 receiver of the day, having 4 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. What did I tell you, Seattle? You guys are fine. It's not like your team is losing to, practically the Giants and Patriots in back-to-back weeks. Next game we got is the Steelers at the Rams, and how about them Steelers, man? 4-2, top of the North. Again, I didn't really get to watch any of this game, but looking at the statistics of the players, Kenny, it doesn't look like he did much, but it doesn't look like he did that bad. Both Najee Harris and Jalen Warren got rushing touchdowns, although Jalen Warren appeared to be much more productive than Mr. Harris. Pickens caught for 107, Deontay caught for 79, and Allen Robinson continues to fall flat on his face. Oh, this will be fun to point out too. I read this. Their one interception came from none other than Mr. TJ Watt. He finally just gonna win the MVP. Looking at the Rams real quick now, Stafford, he threw for 231, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. The rushing was actually led by Royce Freeman, former Bronco. Remember when he got drafted out of Oregon? I thought he was gonna be so good. This is a little fishy. Puka Nacua had 8 receptions for 154, while Kupp had only 2 for 29. Seems like they're just kind of flip-flopping every week now. And Michael Hutched had 2 sacks, but other than that, it doesn't look like the Rams defense really got to make any plays at all. Ooh, but Brett Maher did miss 2 field goals, which I'm sure heavily influenced how the game was played. Maybe him and Tyler Bass can go to kicking school together. All right, next game we got is the Chargers at the Chiefs, and the Chargers got paddled, and I don't know if it's because they are bad or if it's because Taylor Swift was there, but either way, they got paddled. I'm not gonna lie, I want to go back and watch some tape on this, because for one, Justin Herbert apparently didn't have a great game, which is very unusual. For 2, Josh Kelly had a great game, which is very unusual. And for 3, Josh Palmer had 5 receptions for 133 yards, which is the most random thing I've ever heard. Like, what happened here, man? Anybody on their defense have a good game? Oh, Dean Marlowe had 10 tackles. Bills could really use him back right about now. And Asante had a pick. Nice. Looking at the Chiefs now, we're going to get to see Patrick Mahomes' 5-star studded performance, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's nuts, regardless of a pick or not. Pacheco apparently struggled on the ground as well as every running back, but found use through the air as he caught a touchdown. Rashee Rice also got a touchdown. Marquez Valdez-Scantling also caught a touchdown. And the team was led by Travis Kelce, who had 12 receptions, 179 yards, and of course, a touchdown. Also looks like their defense had a terrific day. What is this? 2 picks and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sacks? Apparently Sunday was a great day to be a Chiefs fan. All right, next game we got is the Packers losing to the Broncos, and I actually was taking a nap and woke up to the Mickey Mouse catch when Romeo Doubs got it knocked out of his hands and then the other Green Bay receiver caught it. So that was kind of funny, but it's also funny that Green Bay lost. Dude, they're actually just low-key atrocious. Guys, I don't mean to be ripping on Love about another thing, but there is 2 parts of his game now that could severely use improvement. And one of them he actually did better on than usual this game, and that's his accuracy. He was fairly accurate. However, his deep ball is really, really bad. And in college, I thought that was one of his strongest suits. As far as the rushing goes, they were pretty lousy. Aaron Jones was rehabbing too, so I didn't expect him to get a full workload. And the receiving, if you look at that, was led by A.J. Dillon. That will never happen again. Looking at Denver now, Russ, he was pretty solid, just didn't throw for a lot. And Javonte Williams had a pretty decent day on the ground, which is the first time in a long time that I've actually seen him look comfortable. I shouldn't say that. I only got to watch him run 3 times, but his numbers weren't bad. As far as receiving goes, Cortland Sutton was 6 for 76. Jerry Jeudy was 5 for 64. And even though Sutton's the one with the offensive touchdown, he was not the hero of the game. Because that goes to Will Lutz, who was 4 for 4, kicking 13 points for the victorious Denver Ponies. Good job, Will. I hope you got the game ball, because you earned it. All right, and now wrapping it up, we got Sunday Night Football. It's the Dolphins at the Eagles, and like I said, man, even as a Dolphins rival, this was kind of a gross game to watch for Miami because the officials were up Philadelphia's ass in not the bad way. Anyway, Jalen, pretty good game throwing, but running, he still is not continuing to look good at all. Under 2 yards a carry, like, what the hell is going on with him? He did run one in, though, and so did Gainwell, so credit due. A.J. Brown went off again because, you know, if he doesn't, he's going to cry like a 6-year-old kid on the sideline. Dallas Goedert had 5 for 77 and a touchdown. Nice to see him coming back. And like I just said, their defense played really, really good versus Miami. However, there was 5 to 6 to 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10, or 11 penalties that the Eagles got away with when they probably should have been called. Looking at Miami now, Tua, 22 for 32, 216, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Mostert was held to under 400 rushing yards, which is incredible. Tyreek, he was the only one that I saw do good. I stopped watching before Jalen Waddle started to put anything together. And I do owe somewhat of an apology to Bradley Chubb because I was talking shit about him, and he's actually performing pretty well this year. So tip the hat to you, Bradley. You're playing good. But that's all I got for this game. Again, Philly, I'm not saying you didn't deserve it or didn't earn it. You definitely played well for it. But I do believe that the game should have been a lot closer than it was, and Miami should have had probably a much better opportunity to actually win it than they were ever given. All right, everybody, and that is it for my Week 7 NFL reactions. You can't tell my voice is starting to go because I've been talking so much today, and I gotta go pick up my dog from the vet, so I'm gonna be super quick about this. Show any support to this video. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.